Friends, today we're going to talk about climate change and how we are ruining the most civilized period of the planet history. We live on a human-dominated planet, putting unprecedented pressure on the systems on Earth. This is bad news, but perhaps it's also a part of the good news. We are the first generation, thanks to science, to be informed that we may be undetermining the stability and the ability of planet Earth to support human development as we know it. In fact, we are faced where transformative changes is necessary, which opens a window for innovation, for new ideas and new paradigms. This is the living condition on the planet over the last 100,000 years. It's a very important period. It's roughly half the period when we have been fully modern humans on the planet. It was a jumpy ride over 80,000 years back in a crisis. We leave Africa, we colonized Australia in another crisis. 60,000 years back, we leave Asia for Europe in another crisis. 40,000 years back, and then we enter the remarkably stable Holocene phase, the only period in the whole history of the planet that we know of that can support human development. 1,000 years into this period, we abandon our hunting and gathering period patterns. We go for a couple of million people to the 7 billion people we are today. Putting a paper squeeze on this poor planet, which is as its first squeeze as population growth, of course. The majority of the environmental impacts on the planet have been caused by the rich minority. The majority of the planet aspiring for development, having the right for development, are in large aspiring for an unsustainable lifestyle. The second pressure on the planet is of course the climate agenda. The big issue where the policy interruption of science that it will be enough to stabilize greenhouse gases at 450 ppm to avoid average temperature exceeding 2 degrees. To avoid the risk that we may be destabilizing the West Antarctic ice sheet holding 6-meter level rising, the rise of destabilizing the Greenland ice sheet holding another 7 meters sea level rising. Unfortunately, the third pressure is the ecosystem decline. Now have we seen in the past 50 years such a sharp decline of ecosystem function and services on the planet. One of them being the ability to regulate climate on the long term in our forests, land and biodiversity. This poses a momentum pressure on the planet of momentum scale. We have entered a new geological area, the Anthropocene, where humans are the predominant driver of change at a planetary level. The evidence is unfortunately ample. It's not only carbon dioxide that this hockey stick pattern of accelerated change. You can take virtually any parameter that matters for human well-being, nitrous oxide, methane, deforestation, overfishing, land degradation, loss of species. They all show the same pattern over the past few hundred years. Simultaneously, they branch off in the mid-50s, 10 years after the Second World War, showing very clearly that the great acceleration of the human enterprise starts in the mid-50s. You see, for the first time, an imprint on the global level.
Recognize the fact that systems do have multiple stable states, separated by thresholds, illustrated here by this ball and cup diagram, where the depth of the cup is the resilience of the system. Now, the system may gradually, under the pressure of climate change, erosion, and biodiversity loss, lose the depth of the cup, the resilience, but appear to be healthy, and then appear to suddenly, under a threshold, be tipping over, changing state and literally ending up in an undesired situation, where the new biophysical logic takes over, new species take over, and the system gets locked. Do we have evidence of this? Yes. Coral reef systems, biodiverse low nutrient hard coral systems, under multiple pressures of overfishing, unsustainable tourism, climate change. A trigger and the system tips over, loses its resilience. Soft corals take over and we get undesired systems that cannot support economic and social development. The Arctic, a beautiful system, a regulating biome at the planetary level, taking the knock after knock of climate change, appearing to be in a good state. Now, no scientist could predict that in 2007, suddenly, what could be crossing a threshold? The system suddenly and very surprisingly loses 30 to 40% of its summer ice cover. Now, which are the large environmental processes that we have to be stewards of to keep ourselves safe in the Holocene? And could we even, thanks to major advancements in Earth system science, identify the threshold, the points where we may expect non-linear change? And could we even define a planetary boundary, a fence within which we then have a safe operating space for humanity? This work by Johan Rockström, which was published in Nature in 2009, after a number of years of analysis led to the final proposition that we can only find 9 planetary boundaries with which, under active stewardship, would allow ourselves to have a safe operating space. These include, of course, climate. We also include what we call the slow variables, the systems that under the hood regulate and buffer the capacity of the resilience of the planet. The interference of the big nitrogen and phosphorus cycles on the planet, land use change, rate of biodiversity loss, freshwater use, functions which regulate biomass on the planet, carbon sequestration, diversity. And then we have two parameters which we were not able to identify: air pollution, including warming gases and air polluting sulfates and nitrates, but also chemical pollution. Together, these form an integrated whole for guiding human development in the Anthropocene, understanding that the planet is a complex, self-regulating system. Most evidence indicates that these 9 may behave as one for all for one. You degrade forests, you go beyond the boundary on land, you undermine the ability of the climate system to stay stable. It may show that the climate challenge is the easy one. If you consider the whole challenge of sustainable development, the black line is the safe operating space, the quantified boundaries as suggested by the analysis. The yellow dot in the middle here is our starting point, the pre-industrial point, where we were very safely in the safe operating space. In the 90s, we start branching out. In the 60s already, through the Green Revolution and the Haber-Bosch process of fixing nitrogen from the atmosphere, humans' body takes out more nitrogen from the atmosphere than the whole biosphere does naturally as a whole. We don't transgress the boundary, the climate boundary, until the early 90s, actually, right after Rio. And today, we are in a situation where we estimate that we have transgressed 3 boundaries: the rate of biodiversity loss, which is the 6th extinction period in the history of humanity, one of them being the extinction of the dinosaurs, nitrogen, and climate change. But we still have some degrees of freedom on the others, but we are approaching fast on land, water, phosphorus, and oceans.
A new paradigm to guide humanity. We now need to bend the curves, so to speak. There is ample science to indicate that we can do this transformative change, that we have the ability to now move into a new innovative, a transformative care across scales. We have to invest in transformation capability, moving from crisis to innovation, and of course, to adapt to unavoidable change. This is an impact that at any scale on governance. For example, from Latin America, where plow-based farming system of the 50s and 60s led farming basically to the dead end, with lower and lower yields, degrading the organic matter and fundamental problems at the livelihood levels in Paraguay, Uruguay, and a number of countries, Brazil, leading to innovation and entrepreneurship among farmers in partnership with scientists into an agriculture revolution of zero-till tillage system, combined with much farming with locally adapted technologies, which today, for example, in some countries have led to a tremendous increase in an area under mulch. Zero-till farming, which not only produces more food but also sequesters carbon. The Australian Great Barrier Reef is another success story under the realization from tourist operators, fishermen, the Australian Great Barrier Reef Authority, and scientists that the Great Barrier Reef is doomed under the current government regime. But the window of opportunity was innovation and new mindset, which today has led to a completely new governance strategy to build resilience, acknowledge redundancy, and invest in the whole system as an integrated whole, and then allow for much more redundancy in the system. The future, of course, has one massive challenge, which is feeding a world of 9 billion people. We need nothing less than a new green revolution, and the planet boundaries shows of greenhouse gases to a sink. It has to basically do this on current land. We cannot expand anymore because it erodes the planetary boundaries. We cannot continue consuming water as we do today, with 25% of world rivers not even reaching the ocean. Even the most vulnerable small scale rainfall farming system with innovation and supplementary irrigation to bridge dry spells and droughts, sustainable sanitation systems to close the loop on nutrients from toilet bag to farmers' fields, and innovation in tillage system. We can triple, quadruple yield levels on current land. We know that we have to move from our fossil dependence very quickly on into a low carbon economy in record time. And what shall we do? For example, one policy measure feeding tariffs on the energy system, which is already applied from China, doing it on offshore wind system, all the way to the US, where you give the guaranteed price for investment in renewable energy. You can subsidize electricity to poor people. You get people out of poverty. You solve the climate issue with regards to the energy sector, while at the same time stimulating innovation. Examples of things that can be outscaled quickly at the planetary level, and we can list many examples of transformative opportunities around the planet. The key, though, in all of these is the shift in mindset. It clearly shows that the incremental change is not an option, so there is scientific evidence. We are facing the largest transformative development since the industrialization. In fact, what we have to do over the next 40 years is much more dramatic and more exciting than what we did when we moved into the situation we are in today if we move simultaneously collaborating on a global level from local to global scale in transformative options which build resilience on a finite planet.